Last year September, things really got too much for me, and I was left with the option of either giving up my restaurant performances or run on a burnout. So I chose the former and spoke to the restaurant managers and owners I had signed up with and put my wand away for the time being. It was a sad day to say goodbye. Goodbye to people I've been entertaining for several years, and it was a sad occasion for me to pack up my bags and leave the restaurant that day. All the thoughts of good memories and good times played over and over in my mind. Adventures of great stories unfolding at the tables, entertaining young children and adults alike. And one of my highlights was performing magic for a blind couple. That was absolutely blissful. Now I remember that day quite clearly. It was a grim-looking day in Cape Town, overcast as it is today. It wasn't too hot and it wasn't too cold, but it was grim, grey, cloudy day. And I also remember posting a goodbye message on Facebook and tagging the particular restaurants. Then a week later, that Saturday, I woke up bright and early only to realize that I could hit the pillows again and sleep on. It was good to have my energy levels back again. Good to not be on this energy low. I missed the performances and interaction with the patrons, but it was all so good just to have some time to myself. And it was also not good that all of this was actually getting too much for me. I had too much on my plate. I got to spend time with my wife now, with friends and with family. I also could stay up late on Friday nights, painting the town red, as it were. It was great, but I wasn't happy. I longed to see the smiles on those children's faces one more time. I longed to make magic right before their very eyes again. Now months went by and we crept closer to the end of the year. And my wife and I decided that we're going to go on holiday in Bali. And just before we were about to depart, I received a call from a luxurious restaurant in Sea Point, inquiring whether I would be available for their New Year's Eve celebrations. I was a bit hesitant, but I told them that I'd do it. After a 6-hour New Year's Eve performance for the patrons, I knew what I had to do. I needed to get my fix of magic again. I wanted more. I needed to be back performing for the patrons, but I needed to think bigger. In January this year, I plotted and planned and worked out different ways of targeting the restaurants. I got one of my former franchise back, and I signed up a few others. It's great to be back performing and entertaining people, but more than that, it's uniting families and building bridges between restaurant and patron. I always speak about the classic scenario of a family going out for some quality time with one another, and then I approach the table and mom and dad are playing on their cell phones and laptops while little Johnny and Susie are playing on their cell phones and their tablets. No one's talking to anyone. The joy of it is when the family allows me to enter their space and entertain them. Their cell phones and electronic devices are put away for that short period of time that I am with them and everyone is engaged. The most amazing part of it all is that when I leave the table, I like turning around and I see the family talking to one another about what had just happened. I can see them saying, "How did you do that?" That is why I do what I do. I don't do it because I like fooling people. I don't do it because I love the entertainment. Yes, I do, but more importantly, I do it because my mission is to bring people together, to unite families. May it be by magic or the balloons that I make. Either way, I do so because the world needs it. There are so many people living sad, lonely lives. Many people build up walls around their hearts because of how others have hurt them. And today the reality is that many people build walls around themselves and shield off the reality of their lives and the world at large. Rapes, murders, abuse, the recent crisis which shook our country, all of this can motivate us to want to shield ourselves from the harsh reality of life. Now some play hours of Candy Crush whilst others create a fictional world for themselves on social media. I definitely agree that the world we live in is very grim. It's as grey and cloudy as that day when I left the restaurant that day. I work in a newsroom, and it saddens me that some people are as sick as what they are. But hiding away from it will not solve anything. Especially if you are hiding behind a screen and allowing your children to do likewise. Even sadder than that is even sadder than the state of our country and the state of our world is that people can't converse with and communicate with one another anymore. Now, as I perform at restaurants again, I take a step back and I look at the families I encounter. I thank them for allowing me into their space and wish that the conversation of how did he do that can develop into how are you, how was your day, and I love you. It's good for me to speak about the times I united families through my entertainment, but the families need to take the time and the effort with one another as well. They need to realize that the real magic isn't me coming to do sleight of hand. The real magic is them speaking to one another, loving one another, and growing in communion.